Also been learning and following traditional way of medicine for, I don't know, a very long time. And so she's going to be presenting today. What you'll find in your seats is a pink document that gives you a listing of the programming for the entire year of 2016. We'd like all of you to return to the full programming. It's designed to kick it off with today's event. That's going to be like a fire hydrant of information. And then as we go throughout the year, we'll be talking specifically about different things. We're including 3 films this year. My daughter Sophia's right there. She does health education, community health education. She's going to be hosting those and moderating the discussion on that. And then next month we have Yisrael Farms. They're a family farm in Oak Park that are going to be coming, and they're going to talk about urban gardening. And also we're going to be seeding and talking about seed preservation. So we hope everybody comes, and we're going to have a wonderful year. If we need more chairs, we have more chairs in the back. We'll go ahead and grab some extra chairs. Everybody come in and fill in and sit down. And before we start, a good friend of ours to the Curanderismo program and has been instrumental in what we do here in programming forever, as well as Maria Miranda, and she's going to lead us today in a prayer, setting our intentions for this time. And then we're going to turn it over to Kate. So.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone please stand up? First of all, blessings on this new Gregorian New Year. And see, everybody can see this candle? Okay, this is what we are. We are love and we are light. And so with that knowing and validating and remembering, more than anything, that we remember that this is what we are. We are love and we are light. And so as we go this year and as we're doing all of our work, when we remember who we are, then we will honor and remember who each one of us is. That we are all the same, and that we're here to learn, and that we're here to grow, and that we're here for service to ourselves and to mankind. And so right now what we'll do is we'll have Trudy, as soon as she goes around, we'll come back, and we're going to acknowledge those 4 sacred elements that we are. All of us are water, all of us are light, all of us are Mother Earth, and one more. Air. Remember, and we have to breathe. Because a lot of times we don't breathe. We're sitting there, we're just holding on. But when we breathe, we bring in that life force into ourselves. Remember, because we only have so much life force, right? And so every day we have to replenish ourselves. Every day we give, every day we receive. So we're going to acknowledge the 4 sacred directions. And as we're doing that, we're going to go very calmly, very lightly. We're going to take a nice breath in. And we're going to hold it, and then we're going to release it. Okay? Now that we've done that, we're going to go to the direction of the east. To the direction of the east where the morning sun shines upon us. And thank you for the blessings of this day. Breathe in and let it go. Oh, Meteo, turn to the west. To the direction of the west. As we are born, one day we go to Mictlan, we go to where we come from. Take a nice deep breath in. Hold it and exhale. Ometeo. Now we turn to the direction of the south. South. The direction of, as we grow, one thing that we cannot forget is that little child inside us, because we nurture that baby and that child every day, every second of our life. So let's acknowledge that. Breathe in. Hold it and let it go. Ometeo. Now to the direction of the north, where all of us will go, and all of us are some of us are elders in training, And so breathe in all that knowledge, hold it, and exhale. Mateo, turn around, back to the center. We'll just go ahead and do those 4. So again, lots of blessings for this day, for this New Gregorian New Year. Kate, blessings to you, to your family on this path. Let's continue to open up our hearts for all the blessings and all the beautiful things that are here and those that are coming. And not just for us, but for all of us. Mateo. Oh, one more thing. There's a beautiful poem about love. And Trudy wanted to share that with everybody. Did we get copies of that? Okay. Well, maybe next time. So keep an eye out for that prayer. It's absolutely amazing. Mateo, have a seat, please.
What we'll do is I'll post that on the Curanderismo Soul group on Facebook. I'll post that prayer, and you can see it there. Okay, I'm going to turn everything over to...
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And I just want to tell you a little bit more about myself. So I've been a physician for many, many years. But what I did was early on realize that my bag of tricks was pretty small, and it just mainly had pills. And so in 1998, I founded my own practice, which was meant to be a wellness, internal medicine and wellness therapy. So my history goes back way long, working on these other aspects of health and how can we not end up needing pills and other forms of intervention. In about 2000 and something, maybe 6, I got exposed to functional medicine, which is a really cool blend of all that is Western science. All the beauty of looking into a cell and seeing what it does and how it messages, how the DNA works, how does all this fantastic little nano events that take place in our bodies all the time. I got kind of interested in that, and that blend of medicine is what I do now, which is an integrative form of medicine, but it's based on Western science and based on it. I always tell myself that if the ancients woke up today, all these wise people woke up today, they'd probably do functional medicine because it's like it looks at what we already know, but it sees like why behind it. So what you're going to hear from me today is actually my view of what's going on, because I'm at the end of where people have been doing things for a long time. It's not necessarily good for them, and then they come to me with the end expression of it, which is something not good for their health. So it's really rolling things back as far as we can and understanding what our bodies need and how to do it, and then just going on from there. Like, how do we do this? Another thing I'll say about me is I am a very emotional woman, and I permit myself my emotions, so don't feel bad. It's just me, and it just means it's in my heart. And it means a lot. So if you want to join me. So I'm going to start. So we have a choice. We don't always take it. And I just want you to realize that when we say food is medicine, it really is. It is medicine. And we have a choice. Are we going towards an end-stage disease, or do we hold ourselves here? So food is medicine really is kind of a default outcome of the way we live. We don't sleep. We're around electronics all the time. We are like eating poorly, like we don't exercise. There are all the things that we could list and list and list. Exposures to environmental toxicants and many, many things. So it's coming to us that food is medicine because it came out of that. I mean, wise people like Hippocrates knew that food is medicine, but we are having to live it now because of what we've created. So all that we see around us, the agribusiness, food industry, I always see it as a match made in heaven for somebody's profit margin, because here is all the food industry. And here it is, the food industry is making us sick, and the big pharma says, we'll fix them. And it's just like this perfect little blend of somebody's profit margin. No part of it has any health in their consciousness. And in many ways, we see this as like the biggest human experiment anyone's ever, like this an uncontrolled study of 7 billion. So we're seeing what are the outcomes, and we'll go into that a little bit more. Thank you. Perfect. So this is kind of an amazing slide. It shows that Big Pharma has the highest profit margin of any business on the planet. It says that this is not income, but it's profit margin. Okay, nobody does that. How do you get 42% profit margin on what you do? So, go ahead. This is an interesting little slide that shows the CEO to worker ratio of money, meaning the higher the ratio goes, the more profit is in a CEO's pocket versus their workers. Just ways to see what this world means to us as we live through it. So just food evolution is kind of just an idea. It shows that, and you'll see, we'll look at a couple more slides, food has become unrecognizable to our bodies. We put things in our mouth that our bodies are like seriously confused about. They have no relationship to nutrition. Our digestive tract is an amazing organ. It's like, I'm totally in love with this little organ from top to bottom. It makes all these decisions about what we're actually supposed to be, what's supposed to happen to what we ingest. So meaning that we eat food, it goes through digestion, it passes through, but your GI tract has to decide on every single thing you put in your body. Is it food or is it not food? What is it that I'm seeing? So so this is kind of an interesting little pie chart that says what are we actually eating? And you can see the percents of different kinds of food additives. There's texturizers, there's just a little sidebar about food colors. Coloring is really, really bad for us. Artificial color is, the way it gives color is that most of them are ring structures. If you look at them biochemically, they're made out of ring structures, and those ring structures are how they capture light and create red or blue or any of those kind of things. Our DNA is made of many of ring structures. If anyone has like a picture in their mind what DNA looks like, those molecules are ring structures. So the food colors, to get on the market, have to pass a test called the Bruce Ames mutagenicity test, and that test is designed to show that it won't cause too many mutations. Because the DNA, those ring structures kind of look alike to our bodies, and they can put those food colorants in our DNA, and it's just not good. So, do you guys know Michael Pollan? Probably people do. He's an author, but he's been kind of the little poster boy for helping change food culture in this country. But he has his 3 simple rules of eating. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. And when we say eat food, well, of course we eat food, but what he really means is eat natural things. And when he says mostly plants, he really means mostly vegetables. Even fruit is not all good for us. I mean, fruit is good for us, but in smaller quantities. So this is a Michael Pollan idea. What's in an apple? Just, if you can call something by one name, that's a good thing. You know, there's no other ingredients, it's just an apple. When we start to add things, and this has high fructose corn syrup, and it has, it starts to build, as soon as you start to take it away from its natural self, you build in things that are going to preserve it or keep it fresh or those kind of things. And this is when we get to that paragraph length. I always tell people, like, if you are reading a paragraph and probably there's only 1 or 2 words in there you recognize, probably don't eat it. Just like put it back, get rid of it. So we all know that. I know in some ways I'm probably speaking to the choir a little bit, like I'm sure you guys are educated, but this is a really good, we all, you're driving down Highway 5 and you stop for a little something. Well, who doesn't go in there and get a bag of this or that or this or that? But it's really time to not. It's just time to say, look, I don't need any of that. So this is another interesting phenomenon. Around the turn of the century, we ate plates from plates like that. Now, American plates are huge. They're platter size, and they're filled up. We fill them because there's a visual. If you had that much on a big plate, you'd go, wow, this doesn't seem right. But it's as we have seen food quality go down, we see quantity going up. And then go ahead. So these are, you can see in 1950 a hamburger and then now. Or like all this stuff, it's built in as we have gotten less quality food. We have learned to eat more and more. So this is a crazy chart that looks at, the color isn't so good, but that bottom half that should be kind of pink are people whose BMI is over 30. BMI is our body mass index, and it kind of puts you in the gradient of how is your body in relation to waist versus circumference, and so anybody with a BMI over 30 is considered obese. So look at this chart. The bottom is all obese. The people who are going up, this last one, these are from 1986 to 2000. Look what happened. This is so sad. This is what I see in my office. This is why I'm really concerned, and this is why I really feel like we all need to wake up and just take charge. Because those people have a BMI of 50 or more. That's hard. It's just hard. These are area maps of the United States. The top shows obesity starting in 1994, and gosh, it's so hard to see these. Anyway, well, you can see what happened over time, and most of and the bottom is diabetes. So over time, we have transformed our country to being to this level of unprecedented level of potential chronic disease, all from the things that we're doing. One of the most chilling facts that I've read, and probably maybe some of you have heard this too, that 1 in 3 babies born in the millennium will be diabetic unless we change. 1 in 3. That's like not possible. How could we do that? We will have a nation, 1/3 of our nation will be sick. So hard. So we have to really take this in and be with it and not be afraid of it. Oh, sorry, that didn't go away, but anyway. So food has many other roles in our life, besides nutrition. Enjoyment, social connection, families, friends, even strangers. There's nothing sweeter in the whole wide world than offering food to somebody you never met. It's like, how sweet is that? My background is Middle Eastern. I'm Palestinian. And one of the things that we do culturally is that anyone who walks in your door, you feed them. The first thing you do is offer them tea and something. It's a cultural willingness to connect with someone else. This is how to share your heart. You take the barriers down. So there is nothing lovelier than all the ways that all the cultures have brought food to, to share, to offer. This is just a little around the world places, and can't see it, but this is actually a spice map of the world. It's all just one of the loveliest things that we can explore. And we're actually so lucky in this country where we live in a totally multicultural world. And so we can have everybody's flavors. I mean, it's such a sweet way to share our cultures. So other things to think about good nutrition. So organ reserve, we don't really think about that much because we really don't think about our organs very much. So organs, all our organs we're gifted this at birth, and when we're young, we don't have any, I shouldn't say when we're young, because even in utero, we're getting bombarded by chemicals and things, and breast milk has contaminants in it, and it's like a hard thing to really think about, but we want to have, because our Mother Nature wants her babies to live and thrive and be happy and be good. We are created to keep our organ, it's like our organ reserve holds on as long as it can. It will take care of you. But then if you've been abusing it in yourself in many, many ways, because we use up our organ reserve, we don't think anything is happening, but we've been using up the organ reserve, using it, and eventually these 2 points meet and our bodies crash. But there's no organ reserve left. So it's really important to think that we're not just feeding ourselves because we want food and we have nutritional needs. We're actually preparing ourselves for a long life. Avoid long latency diseases. So that's a concept that's really important to listen to, because most of what happens to our bodies when they come to me, it's not that it happened even in the last year or the last week or last anything. It's like it started 20, 30 years ago. Something started when you're young. And if you keep eating foods that inflame, then we develop these long latencies. They just don't show up until a long time has passed. Respecting our genes. Like, we're given so much. We're given so much at birth. We have all this genetic potential. And when we're formed and we're created, and the Creator sends us out into the planet, and we're out here and we're navigating the planet, and we do all these things, what we're doing is we're pouring things over our genes. We're literally pouring things over our genes. And if you pour things that just don't respect your genes, then things happen. So this is a way to really understand, who are you? We are 7 billion. We are not one of us the same. We're each so special and unique. It's really like coming to realize that we have something special. Is really important. The next one, epigenetics and disease propagation. So are you guys familiar with the word epigenetics? Have you heard of it? So epigenetics is a really interesting thing. If we go back to basic biology and we think about Darwin said that it's survival of the fittest, and we select people or survivors based on how that they were given good genes for survival. And if you didn't get good genes for survival, then you wouldn't make it, and you wouldn't have offspring and whatever. There was a man by the name of Lamarck who proposed a completely different idea. And his idea was that was that organisms adapt real time. We adapt real time, meaning we don't have to wait for the next generation. And now what we understand is that they were both right. It's not mutually exclusive. So the idea of epigenetics says that, okay, this is how I'm living now. Like, this is my environment. This is what I eat. This is what I do. This is like, and my body says, okay, well, these are the enzymes you need. I'm going to shut down these genes. I'm going to open up these genes because these genes will serve you today. But guess what? Those same genes are like clamped down and made ready for your baby. Because why? Because Mother Nature said, you're living like that. What are the chances your baby's going to live like that? So we give our epigenetic modifications to our babies. Does that make sense? Because Mother Nature knew, like, well, today I'm living in urban Sacramento. It's not likely that I'm going to go have a baby on the savannah in Africa. Like, so that's a different set of genes I might need there. So Mother Nature said, you're going to need the same genes as your mom. So the reason that's hard is that because what we're teaching our body to know about is not good. So our babies are coming out, there's like unheard of amounts of childhood obesity, there's things happening with pediatric diabetes. Is like, when I was in training, we would have discussions because it was such a complete, clear line between juvenile onset diabetes, kids that got diabetes, and adult onset diabetes. And I remember having this big discussion because somebody came in who was like 27, like, well, are they juvenile onset? Or are they like adult onset? Like, where does that division doesn't exist anymore. That adult onset diabetes that should be starting 60, 70, 50, 60 like that is all the way down to 8, 12, 10-year-old kids. So it's environmentally created. But that's the epigenetics that I'm talking about. So why do we need things? We need protein for structure and function. Structure meaning our bones are made out of a collagen, protein collagen matrix, and we put all the minerals around to build bones. Our muscles, all our body is made of protein that has structure, and the function part are enzymes. So enzymes are the workhorses of our body, and they take glucose and they break it down into parts, and so we can get the energy out of it. And so enzymes and basically our building blocks that create our structure are how we are going to use protein. Oils and cholesterol. So it's kind of crazy. One of the books I have up here I really like. It's called The Queen of Fats. And it's about how the food industry was able to derail the whole mission towards heart disease and identifying cholesterol as a bad thing to have in your system. Well, it turns out it's actually not bad. We need it for building every hormone, our sex hormones, our estrogen, testosterone, cortisol. These are all cholesterol is the parent compound for all of those. So we build from that. Not just that, we need fat for every single cell in our body. Okay, the cell membrane, I'll show you a little picture of a cell. The cell membrane that encloses every single cell in our body, it's called a lipid bilayer, and it's made out of healthy fats. If you put trans fats or sticky, thick fats, the cell membrane, which is where all the action takes place, all the communication between cells, that cell membrane, if it's thick and sticky and it can't flow and move and let the proteins move and do all their jobs, well, you have a sick cell in the end. They're also healthy oils are healthy messengers for the body. what about antioxidants? And everybody has heard that a zillion times, and not just one time over many years. Like, but really, why do we need antioxidants? What is going on that we need an antioxidant in our system? Well, just the sheer fact of being alive and breathing, we take in oxygen, and we use that oxygen to build a molecule you'll see a little bit later called ATP. This is our energy package. It's our energy currency of the body. And in creating that, we take the oxygen and we run it down a little enzyme series, and we extract electrons from it and create a chemical bond. Anyway, the end product is what we call oxygen radicals. And oxygen radicals are really ferocious little chemicals that really rip up other body parts. They're very reactive, and they'll ruin proteins. They can oxidize DNA. They're like, it's if you don't have antioxidant in sufficient amount to meet just the need that we have to stay alive and breathe, if you don't have antioxidants to mop up all the work of life, then you have oxidation of your body. Vitamins, I mean, we all know that we need vitamins, but they're essential parts of enzyme cofactors. In my world, when I see people and test them, everybody's low on vitamins. It's like a whole nation of people, like vitamin D. I've been testing for more than 15 years. Anyone who walks in who's just coming for the first time, I test them and they're low. I mean, drastically low. So we need our vitamins to be not marginal, but replete and filled, so that we can really conduct our lives healthily. And carbs, I mean, carbs are fuel. They're literally fuel. When we do bad biochemistry and we're ignoring all of that, the outcomes are inflammation, oxidation, inadequate detox, inadequate energy formation, and DNA damage. So what do we mean inflammation? Inflammation is a cascade of biochemical reactions that take place in our body when our body has been warned that something is not good. So it's a foreign push from somewhere that says, I need to take care of this. This could be dangerous. I'm going to do an inflammation. And it's an attempt at trying to stop a bad thing. So, but when we keep doing the same thing and we keep inflaming our bodies, it's like, okay, what can it do? It's just going to have to, cope. Oxidation, I just talked about a little bit. Detox. Okay. Mother Nature is like seriously the most amazing biochemist, anatomist, and physiology, whatever. But so how does it work? We eat and get our food into our gut. The gut is given a blood supply. The blood supply pours directly to the liver. So Mother Nature said, I'm not letting anything past my liver until the liver has a chance to look at it. The liver examines what we've eaten and says, is this a toxicant? Or is this going to kill me in the next hour? Or what do I have to do with this material? So if we have been eating poorly, or many parts of this, I mean, I keep focusing on eating. There are so many other parts to this. Like, okay, we're in environments that are heavily contaminated. We eat out of plastic containers. We are doing many, many things that don't even have to do with food that are stressors for our ability to detox. So you have to really see the plan of things that Mother Nature had for us was to really be careful about our bodies, what circulates, because really the liver is this amazing, like seriously, it's an amazing biochemistry lab that just sits right up here under your ribs, and all the blood from your GI tract after you digest, it's directed directly to the liver to say, you're okay, or you're not. So inadequate energy formation. So one of the things you have to really see from a functional medicine perspective, you have to understand that we are a web inside. There's no part of anything that won't affect something else. So if you're eating poorly, you're inflamed, your GI tract is in trouble, and then somebody says, well, I've been feeling so tired. I've been feeling tired for about a year, or 2 years or 5 years. I don't have any energy. Really, what happens is we have, you'll see a picture that in a minute. Energy, you have to have good enough substrata for you to build energy molecules. And if you don't, and those depend on vitamins, they depend on many, many cues. So each, as you can see, that if each of these things is not working, they interact and cause problems. DNA damage, DNA gets oxidized if you don't have good enough antioxidants, and it's much harder to repair DNA than it is to protect it. So it's just a little cell replica, and it's a little world unto itself. The little cell membrane, that part is, it's like I said, it's like called a lipid bilayer, where it has 2 layers of fat, and then it has proteins embedded in it, floating, all ready to, like, for example, if you eat a meal and your body says, okay, time for insulin to be produced, the insulin goes and finds a receptor floating on this, floating in the cell membrane, and says, okay, I see glucose coming my way, we'll get ready. Insulin gets it ready, and then that helps the glucose transport from the outside the cell to inside the cell. So, and then these little guys right here, those are the mitochondria. And then in the center is the nucleus. And then all that like windy part around the middle is called endoplasmic reticulum, and it's where a lot of the proteins are made. They're like so sweet. This is a mitochondria, and mitochondria are very, very interesting. They actually look like a bacteria. They are a bacteria. Historically, somehow we made a symbiosis with bacteria to provide us with energy, and they have the same kind of DNA as a bacteria. They have the same structure there, and that's where inside this little unit, this mitochondria, is where we build our ATP, our energy molecule, and it's just a critical and thank you. So there, it's just like totally crazy beautiful. Go to the next. So, here we go. So, GI tract, I already said a little bit of how special it is, but what people don't realize is that we have the same neurotransmitters that give us mood and good stuff up here. We have it in our gut. We have really, our gut is our second brain. It's really, really, really smart. It has a lot of interaction with all the rest of our body. And it also houses 70% of our immune system. So again, Mother Nature, you just have to really respect our design. Our design says that we rub up against the world, like I touch things, or we hear things, we have these senses, but where we really interface with the outside world is what we put in our mouths. So you go around eating, and you don't know what you ate. You ate something that was from Chile, you get grapes from Chile, and lamb from New Zealand, or blah, 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 all these things. Well, you ate just a little of Chile. You ate just a little of the world when you ate that thing. So all that stuff is coming in, and your body wants to protect you. So the GI tract, the whole length of it, is heavily surrounded by the immune system. Because Mother Nature says, if we get some weird stuff in here, we could get sick. So that was all. This is kind of crazy too. Because of the fact that we run stuff through here all the time, every day, it's kind of the GI tract, the top layer is kind of shredded and it has to rebuild itself. We basically have a brand new GI tract surface layer every 10 to 14 days. That's fast. So when things go wrong in the GI tract, we got something called leaky gut syndrome. Has anyone heard of that? Leaky gut syndrome? So leaky gut syndrome is not something that's really well received in the traditional medical world. Like, you will not find a GI doctor talking about this. But it's very, actually, now finally the science is catching up to what we saw empirically. So leaky gut is when, right here, it's like, and these are the factors that cause leaky gut: stress, toxins, food particles, drugs, pathogens, organ malfunction. So what happens over time, instead of having a nice barrier like this, chronic GI inflammation causes the separation between the cells to occur, and then particles make their way into your system and circulate. It's food that you eat, it's bacterial breakdown products, all kinds of things can now access your whole body. And then the outcome, dysbiosis we'll cover in just a second. Oftentimes we end up having insufficient enzymes to do good digestion. One of the sweethearts of Big Pharma has been all the, what they call PPIs, like Nexium and Prilosec, which is, people can buy now, it used to be prescription, but people who take chronic PPIs, those kind of medications that are acid killers, they, that acid is gone. That first initial impact that our body has on the food we eat, which is to start breaking down proteins, start breaking things down, and also to protect us from bad bacteria. We don't have that. So we have people, one of the things that I didn't mention in this later on, one of the chronic diseases we've seen in women is osteoporosis. Women in their 40s and 50s having bones like women in their 70s and 80s, which is really scary. When I did my training, what we were taught was that women of color don't get osteoporosis. In fact, now I have women of color in my practice who are just as osteoporotic as Caucasian women. It's historically is Caucasian women and slender and Asian women were the ones most likely to get osteoporosis, but it's everyone now. It's even men. It was also, men never got osteoporosis. They had testosterone. Like, okay, well, we have men too. So there's many things that are changing. So you can go. So this is something that's really important to understand, that once you have your barrier, you don't have a barrier, you have a sieve and things go through now, that as things circulate, they will find a place in your body that will be a focal point. Sometimes people have chronic sinusitis, chronic joint pain. Many things can be affected by the leaky gut idea. And I have a really firm belief, and that is that probably, I'm going to just say this, it sounds horrible, probably everybody in this room has a little bit of leaky gut. Because you can't have lived in this country and eaten this food for the last 20, 30 years and get away with it. It's just not possible. Not only that, one of the things that I think that we really have to seriously bond together and really create a barrier for is GMOs. Because we have no clue. I have 2 degrees in bacteriology. My bachelor's and my master's are in microbiology. I love those little things. They are really amazing. And people don't understand that when you put that GMO kind of gene information into our gut, it is not staying in one place. It's moving. So we have to be really thinking about what are we doing and how to overcome it. So this is my topic, my favorite. Okay, the microbiome. Have you guys heard that word? Okay, microbiome is, it's the name for all the bacteria in our system. Not just in our gut. We have it under our arms, in our mouths, everywhere, vaginally, on your skin. Every area of our body is an ecosystem. The one we're focusing on today is our gut. The microbiome in our gut is just like a fantastic array of, there's probably more than 2,000 species of bacteria in our gut. Maybe about 200 are predominant. And they're coming to realize that, okay, so we carry 4 to 5 pounds of bacteria in our intestines around. We actually would die without them. You cannot live without your bacteria. I mean, really think about that. We would die. We wouldn't have a chance without them. They help us to digest. They help to message the immune system. They maintain defense against pathogenic bacteria. They're a full-on ecosystem. We owe 50% of our health to our microbiome. 50, not 5, not a little bit, half. If you have a good microbiome, you're going to have good health. To really think about it. So these are just some pictures that I found of my beautiful little, our extended family. And these are all different kinds of bacteria, and they're just so sweet. Okay. So we have to understand that the microbiome is ancient. It doesn't care that we made a food industry in the last 50 years. It's ancient. It's ancient. We can't really afford to mess with it. The same like we can't afford to mess with the delta or, alpine ecosystems or any of these other things. We have to really look at preservation and honoring of this equipment that we were given, these friends. We have actually got more microbial cells in our body than human cells. There's more bacterial DNA than human DNA in our system. If you stack it up, we're more bacteria than we are human. We have more cells that are bacterial. We have more DNA that's bacterial than we do human. We each have a unique microbiome. It's very interesting because the law enforcement has come to realize that our microbiome is like our fingerprint. It's so unique that they can use it. My understanding is that they will be, I don't know when, if they're theorizing, they're understanding that they can use that at a crime scene. The microbiome is really something to respect and treasure. So now we're going to just go ahead and do foods as causes of chronic disease. So diabetes, heart disease, stroke, obesity, metabolic syndrome, cancer, Alzheimer's. And non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is something that people don't know too much about. People think, oh, just alcoholic is going to get cirrhosis. Well, it's not true. People on a steady diet of high-fat bad foods will have liver damage. I could keep adding things onto this list like crazy, like I said, osteoporosis, ADD, ADHD, all the behavioral disorders seen in children. Like you could make a list. Every one of those has gone up. Every single one of those. You'll see a little, I couldn't really do all the graphing that I wanted, but every single one of these has been on a steady, not a soft little upward curve, a steep curve up. So we're seeing it now. So this is kind of a scary picture because it shows a diabetic foot ulcer way up there. And these are images of the retina. This one has a big hemorrhage, it bled. This one has microaneurysms, and many findings that are seen with diabetes. This is end-stage kidney disease after a lifetime of diabetes. So this is a crazy graph. If you look at 1900, and I read this someplace in one of my little journals, but they said that the first edition of the American Medical Association magazine that came out was reporting death from heart attack. It was like nobody died of heart attacks. It didn't happen. Look at it. It's like none. Look where we are now. Leading cause of death. What we did in 100 years. It's phenomenal. We're like really in something so worthy of our close attention and our real commitment. So, and this little thing, you can see at the very, very way over there where it says normal on this thing. So early means like teenage. Lipid rich is 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and then you have your heart attack. So these long latency diseases didn't start, last year. They started now when you guys are young. You don't have to do any of this. You can just take charge and be comfortable. So, okay. So this is a really interesting picture of a normal heart, and then a heart that has epiploic fat. It's fat that gathers around the heart. And this kind of fat is really dangerous. We'll take another look at this in another slide. But the fat that covers the heart is very actively secreting messengers that are not good for your body, your heart. So obesity and metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is, we define it when people have high triglycerides, low good cholesterol, visceral obesity, insulin resistance, and hypertension. And it has, if this is a constellation that is found in one person, that we can see what our causes are physical inactivity, consumption of high glycemic food index, and stress, and all the same things that cause leaky gut. Deficiencies in magnesium, chromium, potassium, vitamins E and C, elevated ratios of omega-6 to omega-3. In the American diet, we do consume omega fatty acids, but we consume a bad ratio. Omega-6 fatty acids are the ones that in our bodies go down a metabolic pathway that builds inflammatory molecules. Omega-3s build healthy, non-inflammatory molecules. So when you have a high omega-6 to omega-3 ratio like we have in our country, it's like off by 20, like it's very badly off. And so those are the risks. So you can see all-cause mortality having to do with cancer goes up, reduced joint motion, arthritis and more, diabetes, obesity, depression, hypertension, heart disease, stroke. So this is a very chilling slide because it shows really what happens when all of this has been going on. This is this side. This person has what's called visceral abdominal fat. And it's fat that you actually can't see or feel. So see around all the organs how it's yellow? That's abdominal fat. So fat that you can grab like this, that's on the outside of you, that's adipose tissue. It's just fat under the skin. But when fat moves into your belly or around your heart, you could see that too. This is a bioactive endocrine organ that's secreting very bad messages to the whole body. It's really important to understand that, and it's totally reversible. You just start and it will melt away like any other fat. But it's really important to understand that this is how dangerous that is. So this is just a little slide that shows how, what are the age-adjusted death rates. Shows heart disease, cancer, chronic, respiratory disease, stroke, unintentional injuries, Alzheimer's, diabetes. What's interesting about diabetes is diabetes deaths are just from too much sugar, too little sugar, that kind of thing. But really, since we already know this, we know that diabetes had a hand in everything above it, just about. This, I just was going to show you again that whole idea that things don't happen today. They didn't happen yesterday, they didn't happen a week ago. When you get a diagnosis of colon cancer, it started 20 years ago. That's like a progression. And that progression took many, many years. And it took eating low-fiber diet. We know so much now. That's like, and it's all available to all of us. In countries where people really eat high-fiber foods, like Africa, no such thing as colon cancer. Our bodies need certain things. If we don't give them, we have a negative outcome. Just knowing that, we can take action. So Alzheimer's disease, some people call this diabetes 3 because it's part of the whole way that our bodies have the outcome of living an inflammatory lifestyle. It's really dramatic what happens, and this is all metabolic. And then, as I said, non-alcoholic liver disease. It's another one of those things that the curve goes like this. In my training, what did we see? We didn't ever see this. It was like a really weird phenomenon if somebody had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So we're seeing that as well. So this is a lot, but this is really where we are. And this is, to me, this is very poignant and really what I feel like, you're in an amazing community. This is a strong place, and there's resources here, and there's many things available. We need to just have our reality check in a way that just lets us not walk away. And really, this is something that I think, this is what I do in my practice. This is what I help people with. I need people to see that we can't leave this arena because it's not going to work. And this is not unlike what I did in my own life. I mean, I was in my early 50s. I was feeling pretty crummy, didn't have any energy. I weighed a good 45 pounds more than I do now. And I was brushing along diabetes, and I said, I can go this way or I can go this way. There's a fork in the road for me. And I was really lucky enough to come to yoga. And so I started a yoga practice. I did took my steps and gave myself the willingness to stay with it. So this is, let's find our courage and seek answers. Let's work as individuals in a community. And I said it that way for a reason. That nobody can do your work for you. No one can do your work for you. So you're an individual in a rich community with a lot of resource. But we each have our walk, and we cannot walk for someone else. We are here, and this is us. And I'm my unique self. Let's be in full expression of our good hearts. Let's not be a corporate American statistic. Let's be creative and fearless. Let's be filled with gratitude for the gifts of our great earth, the power of the sun, the life-giving miracle water, the delicate chemistry of our oxygen. I mean, this is what we are. This is why I say to not honor our ancients and our wise teachers is so wrong, because they knew all that. They knew it all. We just now have the privilege of seeing the little mechanics behind it and understanding it's still the same magic, it's still the same beauty, it's still all what they gave us. So being here and being willing to see all that. So these are my laws of Mother Nature. Mother Nature wants the best for her babies, no matter what we've done so far. Any mother will do that. That means that you could have done a zillion things that didn't work for you. It was a mismatch, and it was causing problems. Just come back. Just come back and say, this mother wants the best for you. And just go with it. Deep within each cell is the freedom to change. So that says that if we offer our cells what they need, they have the mechanics, they know the story, they know the whole process. It's just we block them. So they will change along with the loveliness that we offer them. Our genes carry hope. So it's kind of that same idea that if we crush our genes with all this bad information from food and toxicants, and I could go on, but there are so many sources of crushing weight on our genes. But if they are hopeful and willing to regroup and recreate for us. Our cells are forgiving. You know, we have to learn, and everyone's pathway is guided by what our spirit needs to learn. We come on the planet and we're on our little pathway and we bump into things and we learn from them. And if we don't learn from them, we have to come back and redo that little lesson. Things don't get to move on until we take it on and we're part of that and we allow ourselves that kind of a lesson. But forgiveness is part of healing, even in our bodies. So our cells will forgive us what we've done and allow us to heal. All movement is towards happiness and satisfaction. I love that, because it doesn't matter what creature it is. If you ever watch anything for a little while, any creature, they're always like going, oh, well, like, what's over here? And like, what's over here? And they like explore if it's a bird hopping or whatever, you know. They've even done studies of bacteria, and they put the bacteria in a dish, and they have nutrients over here, like high density nutrients, like more nutrients, and then they put the bacteria over here, and the bacteria can sense that this is good over here. And they tumble along. They watch them. They can tumble along, and they'll go to where they got good stuff. So it's inherent in our system. We're designed towards completing our spirit and moving towards happiness and satisfaction. And just the whole concept that we heal, and it's a birth gift. I don't know, next time you get a little cut on your arm, just watch it every day and just see how magic it is that you didn't have to send a memo to your arm to say, you know, go ahead and fix that for me. Things happen from so deeply in our system. It's so worth it to just really respect this healing ability we have. So what are we in charge of? We're in charge of ourselves, and that's all. I mean, anyone who's ever been a parent might think otherwise, but We are really here. Parents are here to shepherd their beautiful gift from the universe to something beautiful. But really, we are not here to be anybody but ourselves. We are here to just govern ourselves. And if we had that ability, many things would be easier around us. We're in charge of the present moment, and that's all. When these two things blend together on a daily basis, that's when all positives come. You know, if you are thinking that you're going to do something to someone else over here and you're off in like something else, then we don't even have a chance to really effect our change. So really learning to be present for yourself and be in charge of yourself. The next, each moment is pluripotent. All things are possible. So pluripotent is a really cool idea that comes from cell biology, and it says that in any given situation, a cell can become whatever. I mean, it's part of all of biology. That's how we build ourselves. We come from, an egg and a sperm, and then all these other cells come from that. How do they do that? Because they're each pluripotent. So you can tell a muscle cell, roll it back, we're going to be a bone cell now or something. But so I like that word because it tells us, come here to the present moment, and all things are possible after this. All things are possible. And then this is just a sweet quote. It says, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. And realize deeply that the present moment is all we ever have. This very moment is a perfect teacher, and lucky for us, it's with us wherever we go. So where do we start? And this is a really famous quote from Arthur Ashe: start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. So this is the start of this whole series, and this series is going to take us all that way. All the things that we need to know and do, all the things that we are wanting to understand, that's what this whole series is about. I feel like we can. I feel like the time is now. I feel that the consciousness is available and the community is available. There's no reason that we can't be here for this. So what is my start? What do I have? What can I do? The Maitri concept. So I came across this concept. Maitri is something that comes from the Sanskrit language, and the word Maitri means unconditional. This is so hard for us to really, really, really sit with. Unconditional friendship or compassion to self. We are oftentimes trapped in our heads, and we listen to a lot of bad dialogue in our heads, and we tell ourselves terrible things. And even as much as I've ever sat with this concept, I hear myself saying things like, I've heard that before. It's all bad. Like, why do I do it to myself? Because it is such a deep part of how we're raised. We're not raised to see and feel any love for ourselves. We have ego. Ego puffs us up and takes us places and makes sure that we show up for something, but that's not self-love. I have the really, really great fortune to have a dog who's my friend, and I almost brought her. She would have been really happy here. She's huge. She's an English Mastiff. She's right to here. But that dog teaches me every day. And we can identify a teacher for yourself and help yourself with this. There is nothing more important than this. Because when we engage in positive self, then all other things flow from that. And so I always look at my big dog, and I should have put a picture, it would have been good, but she, I can tell you that it never crosses her mind to say, oh my God, I'm so bad at chasing squirrels. You know what I mean? She doesn't have a bad thought about herself ever. She doesn't have she can't generate a negative self concept. She's happy. Every day is all the same. It's all good. We don't need to do any of this to ourselves. It's part of how we harm ourselves. It's part of how we suppress our genes. It's part of how we allow things in that shouldn't be there. So listen to your inner dialogue. Is it sweet? Is it loving to yourself? Notice that you are completely unique and you are ready. You have everything you need. Do things that keep us grounded in our bodies. Breathe, dance, walk, whatever you love. 5 ways to bring joy in movement to your body. So I didn't really focus that much on movement, but it is really a part of how we heal as well. And I'll just do a little capsule right here to say, we're designed this way with all these muscles, all these bones, all these things to happen, because this is the work of life. This is how we get around. This is how we move. This is how we do everything. So it means that when we do assessment of older people, we ask them to sit in a chair and see if they can get up out of it. Like, getting out of a chair is the work of life. You need muscles to do all of it. And one of the things that is, I think, characterizes this country is that we've abandoned our bodies in really significant ways. In other countries, people walk. Like my mom and my 2 kids and I went to North Africa when my mom was 81. And we spent 2 weeks in that country. And I was so shocked because number one, there was not one obese person in the north, the south, the east, and the west of that little country. It was Tunisia. Everybody walked. They ate fresh food. They had not a single thing in their diet that had an expiration date on it. Nothing. And I thought to myself, wow, this is like a telling. And then we arrived in the airport in New York, and it's like, oh my God, people are huge. People are really not well. And it's not anybody's fault or wrong or bad. It's just where we are. So movement is really a healing part of what we need to do. And all the longevity studies that have been done, the one thing you can always link to longevity is movement. So, I mean, there's a book called The Blue Zones that you can read. It's about 4 places on the earth where people live more than 100 years at very high frequency. And they studied them, and they all ate different things. They all had different things. The environment was different. The things that they could actually say was everybody moved. Like there was one place in Sardinia, the old 99-year-old men would take their sheep and go up the mountain. Climb up there every day, Or the little lady in Japan, she had her own garden. She climbed trees and got her fruit. They walked and did things. So the common denominator to a lot of health is movement. I'll just end it there. And it just allowing ourselves to be a little fearless and facing our fears. There's a really wonderful author who I read a lot. Her name is Pema Chodron. Has anyone heard of her? Pema Chodron is so good at explaining, how do we do this? We want to, our natural instinct is to move away from our fear. But really, her whole thing says, stand there, face it, be with it. Don't run. Don't be doing smoke and mirrors to your own self about what is and what is, what is it that you do not want to be with? And sometimes allowing that to be our master teacher is how we get through it. Okay, you are your own best warrior. And then this is just a really good way to think about this. And it's really how I took care of myself. Just show up and be willing. Just come. Since yoga's my thing, like, show up on your mat, like, what happens today? Do whatever. Like, some days my body didn't feel like it, but it couldn't bend as well. And some days it felt really bendy and it felt good. But just showing up and being willing to have it be an experience and not putting judgment on it, like, oh my God, I can't do this. There's like so many ways that yoga has taught me things. It taught me how much my inner dialogue is harsh. And how for years when I would do this one pose in yoga called the eagle, and you do this like wrap like that. Anyway, I would always wrap one side and say, oh, this is my good side. And then I'd wrap the other side and say, oh, this is my bad side. I can't do it. And then one day I was in a class and I was distracted by something and they told us, do this, wrap an eagle. And I wrapped, and then they said, do the other side, and I did the other side. I was like, oh my God, I don't have a bad side. It was like how many times we talk things to ourselves. And so just the concept of coming, showing up, and being willing without judgment, being willing. And we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not then an act, but a habit. Just show up. And really honoring that love is our greatest healer. We're all love. Every one of us is love in our core. And namaste is just how we close in yoga. I honor the place in you where the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you, which is of love, of truth, of light, and of peace. And when you're in that place in you, and I'm in that place in me, we are one. So there we go. I'm very open for questions if anyone has anything, any concerns or ideas or want to add.
How do you integrate your own self in the medical field? Like, do you go to different seminars with the traditional medical community and blend your own practices that way and then bring it to us as a community?
Well, okay. I go to very few traditional allopathic medicine conferences anymore. I do go to some infectious diseases ones. Of course, I like that a lot. And I read and do things, but really, so what I have is a internal medicine practice that takes insurance, it takes functions like normal, but we have this blend in my office where the physician assistants and I and all of us are like geared towards holistic medicine. And then this last year, they started having a certification in functional medicine, which is an institute. It's postgraduate training for doctors or acupuncturists or DCs or whoever wants can go. But it's a full-on program. And so I took my exam and passed it last April. So I'm a certified functional medicine doctor. And I just blend as much. Some people really don't want to hear too much about. They'd rather just take their pill and keep going. And I'm okay with that. I mean, you cannot make people do things when they're not ready. But I always share that there's maybe something else you could consider. People with hypertension don't have to do 100% pills. Sometimes we blend things. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm in the field too, but I'm doing the field of medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for that information, but I can't find it. So
I'll help you navigate that for sure. Yeah. Hi. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you. So medications are really interesting because they are. Well, most of them are synthetic, but they are they're almost all derived originally somehow from plant information. So that's what the pharmaceutical companies do. They go out and they find bioactive materials in plants and then isolate the active ingredient, and then they make it. So when you take a pill, you're getting 100% of that material. The reason why herbs are so lovely is because when you do an herbal remedy, and I'm not favoring one over another, but I'm just explaining. So what happens is the reason that side effects are so strong with medications is because they come like a fire hose. Bam, that's all you get, this one molecule, and it's designed to fit on a certain receptor in your body, and there it goes, it does its thing. It's like powerful. Herbal things come as families. There are many, if you take an herbal remedy, it has many other little parts to it. So, like, for example, let's say, a gigantic marketing thing for Big Pharma has been the statins. Are you familiar with statins? Statins are the things that you treat cholesterol with. Everybody's like, they're crazy to lower your cholesterol. Well, they have side effects. They can cause myalgia, where your muscles are just sore. They can cause liver damage. They can do really dramatic kidney breakdown. Anyway, so, but statins are naturally occurring. They occur in nature. But when you take them in the natural form, what you're getting is a family. You're getting a mom, a dad, some babies, some cousins, and a bunch of little guys over here. So you get this bell-shaped curve. You don't get this big thing that's going to hit you like a fire hose. You get this little gentle slope of everybody in the group is going to do some little bit of work, but it's not as powerful. And so consequently, you don't usually get as much side effect. Does that make sense? Okay. Pardon me? Cell salts. Hmm. Tell me a little more. I don't know specifically about that, but probably I would imagine is that they probably have magnesium, potassium, and silica. Yeah. So one of the things that is true is that we have like I said, probably all of us have a little bit of leaky gut. And leaky gut means you could eat the best food ever, but your capacity to absorb is diminished. Even things like minerals. I see people in my practice all the time who are low in their minerals. Iodine, magnesium, potassium, like calcium, all of them, they're not fully charged when it comes to their elements. So I'm sure it has something to do with that.
When I start taking a daily vitamin, do you recommend an early vitamin?
Okay. Well, for myself, I kind of simplified my life because there are so many products out there. And I'll just touch on this because I think it's an extremely important topic. Because the nutraceutical world has not self-governed. And there's the production of a lot of inferior quality products. So, and you can look at studies that graph, like they'll take Centrum Silver or Centrum and run it through a machine to see what actually is in that in that vitamin. And what they find is that many of them have not even a tenth of what they say. So you really have to be, like I tell people, you could buy take 10 Centrum Silvers a day, or just get a good quality one. And the way I problem solve for myself, because I can't really know all the products out there, there's some top ones and I just have them in my office. And one of the two top brands that I use are Metagenics and Pure Encapsulations, and there's other ones besides that, Thorn, There's some other ones that are good.
What can you find for that?
You can go online. You can go online and explore. A lot of the ones that are like that are only sold in practitioners' offices. But if you go someplace and you go to a place that has quality brands, then you could explore it that way. One of the things that I didn't get to do is to look for to write a page of resources, and what I'll do is I'll write it up for next time, so it'll be here, of reliable websites where you can learn information, because there's a lot of information out there, and it's all a lot of it's just opinion. So you have to be really aware that you're not diving into someone else's thought process and just their opinions and stuff. So I do have some websites that I can write down for you guys that I'll prepare and make sure you guys get it on the next Curanderismo date. That was vague, but I'm sorry, but I really don't I don't really try to do that. I kind of try to stay away from that. Yeah. Yes.
We're looking at alternative approaches to solving our problems, and we're finding that traditional medical practitioners will not even suggest things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're having a really difficult time finding people to help us.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about things like primarily I think that times just recently I read about how food virus, the use of CBD, I think it's called, all these approaches, and earlier approaches that we could have done, oxygen, vitamin C, and things.
Yeah.
Does functional medicine get into that area?
Okay, I'm going to just backtrack and explain something, and that is the sad part about my colleagues and my peers is that we're all raised in this country, and people are raised in a litigious environment. So doctors we're held to what's called standard of care. Standard of care is very dictated by all the powers that be. And that means if you step outside the standard of care, then you're open to lawsuits. And this has been how I think doctors have been crucified, because, okay, so you're doing your best and you believe, like I could believe in something and I could believe in something. And then all of a sudden, I have a big lawsuit, my career comes to an end, I have no income, I have kids, whatever, things happen. And things come crashing down. It's a reality. It's a reality. I mean, it's a very crazy world. I once had a patient who passed out, and I did all the things that I needed to, standard of care, for her to understand what happened. Her daughter happened to be an attorney, and I told her, I mean, this is just how medicine is. I told her, I said, Mary, you cannot drive. Because if you pass out when you're driving, something could happen. Well, she drove and she had a bad accident and she killed somebody. And the daughter came to me and said, it was my fault. I mean, it's kind of a little crazy. I mean, and what I had to learn from that is I have to do the letter of the law. I have to send a letter to DMV and said, take her license away. But so I had something I had to learn, but all I'm saying is you move this way or that way by a millimeter, you have a legal thing. So that being said, and just understanding that most of medicine filled with people who have like OCD and very high energy egos and things like that. And so you shake them a little bit and they feel really lost and nervous. So, but that being said, functional medicine is a blend of of holistic care that looks at absolutely everything as possible healing sources. And really, the strength of functional medicine is that it asks the question, you're here now, like we got here. What are the inputs that caused this? And so you do what's called upstream medicine. You go back up, you back up, you back up, you back up, and look at how did all this flow over you to create this outcome down here? And what were the deficiencies in your system that allowed it to happen? So we'll increase that. A lot of it's nutrient-based. And then what were the inputs that were hard for your body? Like there are many inputs that are really hard for our bodies that we don't even think about or know. Those are all the plastics were around. I mean, there's a lot of things that, you know, this would be another whole lecture. Like, what do we do? Like, what do you avoid? What are the day-to-day things that you need to stop doing to stop pouring these things over your genes? That's really another whole day. Anyway.
That's one of our upcoming, we have a thing on toxic foods in the main.
So, anyway, well, thank you, everyone, for being here.